Guys, and welcome to another video. Not a market update video actually, but today we're going to talk about the Vwap and the anchor Vwap. Pretty much, we have many different Vwaps: rolling Vwaps, anchor Vwaps, session Vwaps, both weekly, monthly, daily session, and so on. And today I'm going to talk about pretty much just a simple session Vwap, and also talk about the anchor Vwap, which is the main thing we're going to talk about today. So first and foremost, what really is the Vwap? The Vwap is pretty much time, volume, and price. Volume times price. And the good thing about the Vwap is that it takes volume into the consideration compared to, for example, EMAs, as many of you use. Nothing wrong with EMAs, it's just the fact that using volume inside the trading is and can be a fantastic tool to help you find good areas of support and resistance, or take profits, entry points, reference points, and so on, pretty much. So first and foremost, where to take the anchor Vwap and where to find it. You can go to this section and choose here, anchor Vwap, favorite. I'm going to share my settings just real quick. Now I have on the lower bands and upper bands. I'm going to share some of that soon, and these are my settings on this. So first and foremost, where do you need to draw this Vwap? You can take it from, you can just use the magnet and take it from, for example, all-time highs as reference. You can pull from key lows, maybe this low. You can pull from bear market bottom, for example. And we can just take the bear market bottom as a start. As you can see, the blue one is the main anchor Vwap. This is the upper band, lower band. I think, like, for me and in my use case, this is holding above here as is extremely bullish, taken from a swing low. Extremely bullish sign, holding above the upper band. And trading below is a weak sign, but at the same time a discounted discount. So for spot and so on the higher time frames, the lower band is discount and great prices for getting in some swing positions. But at the same time, you can see fantastic reaction at the Vwap, great reaction to Vwap, and also holding the Vwap right here, which is extremely important in my opinion. On the whole uptrend, we saw price holding above Vwap, some failed acceptance below here, holding above Vwap, and some drop around here before it broke down and found this new range, as you all know. This was a high time frame example. You can use it just on as a reference, for example, where to take profit, where to, for example, look to buy spot and so on. But you can also look at it on the lower time frames to find day trades and so on. Let's see, I'm watching for a day trade and confluence area for the week. We can see this weekly open as a reference because I love to pull the Vwaps from places where the price has reversed either massively to the downside or massively to the upside. And as you know, the weekly open this previous week or this week ended up with a massive dump. So you know what? I'm going to pull it from the high. That's pretty much here, and see what the price did. In this case, holding below the lower band is a sign of weakness and a sign that the sellers are really controlling this move. And we can see they really do the whole way, a bunch of bearish retests. And for example, for the bearish retest, you can look to add to your shorts. For example, you can use some fibs, local fibs, plus this Vwap as confluence to add your position and make it bigger. And once we, for example, break this Vwap, potentially to look to reduce the size of your shorts or get out completely or flip long or whatever you think. As you can see, price held below the whole move down, and we flipped it locally here and saw this pretty good move to the upside. And also just looking at local key SNR zones, we can see we have a pretty key low right here with some price action. We also have these highs, so we can make it a bigger zone pretty much. And we also have the Vwap. So this may be actually a pretty great resistance zone in this case. And we can also for example, just pull a fib, and for example pull it from this high, and we can see we have the golden pocket start pretty much just in the Vwap. So that's a strong resistance area. So potentially looking for some bearish signals up here to take a short trade would potentially be a great idea for a day trade or a scalp, potentially. We can take a quick look at my personal chart. Now we're taking a look at both the lower time frames and the higher time frames. I'm also going to take and show you just a few more tips on what you can pull it from. You can pull it from high volume candles, for example here, for example some here, all on all time frames, on the 4-hour time frame, on the 1 minute time frame, and look for reactions. Both use the, then I'm not really using the lower bands and upper bands. I'm not a fan of that on such low time frame. Then I'm mostly a fan of just the regular anchor Vwap, but you can feel free to test it out and see if it works for you. It may absolutely. So I took a trade today. I shared in my Twitter, taking a test of this signal print, and that was also based on the Vwap. Both the session Vwap and the anchor Vwap pretty much. I'm gonna share. So looking at this, you can just take off the lower bands and upper bands for now. I'm just also gonna mention that the anchor Vwap is the best in my opinion. That's what I'm using the most. But everything can work to some extent, and session Vwap is also something I love to watch. So what we saw here on price, so price making lower lows with the momentum getting up, as you know, as a bullish divergence. As you can see here, price making lows, momentum getting higher, and also you can see money flow starting to get better at the lows. I took this trade, shared in my private group. I'm just gonna not do that. Share pretty much how I took it, and my main target was this local zone with the session Vwap around the same place. And it played out in this case. The session Vwap I use exactly the same. I use it as a reference, as resistance. If price opens up and I'm gonna trade New York, for example, and I see the price is way above the Vwap, that's pretty much a strength day that the buyers are, for now at least, in control. And if the price is trading well below Vwap, the sellers are way in control of that day at that case and that time. And then I'm going to look for a potential continuation to the upside if we retest the Vwap to the downside for a long. And if we trade well below, I'm looking for a retrace to the Vwap to take a potential short or add to a short for trend continuation once again there. Or at least take profit and reduce my risk on my trades. That's pretty much how I use the session Vwap as a reference. As you know, it's in volume and price. Volume times price, so it's a really key zone to watch, at least in my opinion, for both trades, reference, and so on. So we have covered pretty much how to look for areas on the bigger time frames, on the medium time frames. And my next video will be how to look for it as scalps, and the 1 minute time frame, and maybe the 5 minute time frame, and how to look for quick scalps, where to take profit on based on the Vwaps, both the bands, upper bands, lower bands, and normal Vwaps. I'm going to take a video on that real soon, so that's going to be extremely good. But for now, this was my main video on pretty much how to use session Vwap as a reference. For example, taking some profit, being careful around it. If you chop around it, stay away. Price holding above, retesting, holding above, breaking below, some sign of strength, some sign of weakness around here, and so on, chop. Be careful, wait for clear acceptance. And in this case, didn't really help for any new trades or then a potential very small short around here. At least a great take profit for the longs. But that's just a few examples. Also, the session Vwaps snaps to the price every day if you use the daily session. And the anchor Vwap doesn't snap to the price, it just follows from where you anchor it. It can be anchored, as I told you in the earlier video, from high volume candles, market structure, all-time highs, all-time lows, local swing lows, local swing highs, local structure on the smaller time frames, high volume candles on the higher time frames, smaller candles, big, huge candles, imbalanced candles. It's so many ways of doing it. You can use it to take profit, find areas and take profit. Entry zones, for example, entering on the anchor vwap, taking profit on the upper band for a long, entering as a retest, bearish retest on the anchor vwap, taking profit on the lower band. This is just a few examples. I'm gonna call this my volume 1 of the vwap. I'm gonna take a much deeper dive in the next few videos, but this is a great intro to at least get to know how it works, how you can look to add it to your own trading as your own contracts, and find some better reasonings to take your trades and buy spot and take a swing trade, whatever you do it currently. Thank you so much for watching the video. I'm gonna make many more videos soon on learning things, both on high time frames, medium time frames, low time frames, everything, how I scalp, how I day trade. I'm gonna share everything. And if you want to get to know how I do it right now, what trades I take, and so on, join my private group. First link in the description. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all with a new video tomorrow.